Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the IndIGo Rabbit Cafe Card poll. Today is Wednesday, May 14th of 2025. My name is Cassie, and I'm really excited to be on here today to do your card pull reading for the week. We're asking the question, actually, it's what messages does your higher self want you to know right now? Now's a good time to tap into your higher self and ask what numbers you should be picking. Because we are going to use the board, the interactive board, which is numbered 1 through 12. This is where you choose the numbers that you're feeling most drawn to. You can choose as many numbers as you want. Let's see. Take what resonates in the reading, leave what doesn't. It is just a general reading. I will also post in the comment section a screenshot of the cards that we read today, so that you can have a closer look for yourself. Maybe you're picking up something different. Maybe you're seeing something I didn't. I love to hear the feedback. I love to hear how things resonate, or how things, I read it this way. I get those often too. And it's really neat. I just love looking at that, and I enjoy looking at the card. Maybe I see it in a different light. Let's see. I will do the Zodiac Draw at the end of today's reading, and we will roll a dice after we lay out the cards here to see what card is going to be the collective for the day. And I did a little something special today. I did channel a few things. I'll share with you guys at the end if they pertain. And just some stuff that just kind of was coming through about maybe what might be present in today's messages. Again, if you need more time to choose your numbers, to kind of sit with it and be still, you can pause the video at any time. We'll be right here when you get back to kind of do those number combinations. So with that said, we're going to get started. You can find the times in the description. So if you wanted to cruise along, or the Zodiac, some people like to pick their number based on the Zodiac. You can go find those next to the times today as well. So we are asking today, what messages does your higher self want you to know? What does your higher self want you to know? What message does your higher self want you to know? And we're going to do... What message does your higher self want you to know? We're using 3 decks today. This is the Sacred Forest, one of my faves. What message does your higher self want you to know? We are going to be using the Earth Song Oracle. This is the Earth Song Oracle. This is going to be for numbers 5 through 8, and we're just asking what message, what is the message from your higher self? What message for your higher self? And then we're going to use the Time Travelers Oracle deck. Another great deck. They're all great. What is the message? This is going to be 9 through 12. What is the message from your higher self? I will post the decks that I used today too in the description, in case you're interested in knowing what they are. Beautiful. Okay, and the collective card is going to be number 6. So we'll spend a little bit of time on number 6 here as we go. So, and then again at the end, we'll do the Zodiac poll, and then I'll share with you some of the things that kind of came through for me when I was sitting in silence today. So now's the time to pause if you're still undecided. If not, we'll begin. And we'll get started with card number 1. So this is messages number 1 from your higher self. And you have, what a great card to start off with. And it's just the bluebird spirit and happiness. And the birds, I've really enjoyed the birds and them coming back. And one of the things that is really standing out to me right now is the bird song. And it's kind of like, you know, it's their vibration, right? It's they're here and they're chirping, and there's so much involved in it, right? As I listen to them, they're looking for love, or just mates, right? They're looking for food. They're talking about food. You know, there's new life out there, and there's spring, and there's lots of chatter. And it's really neat to kind of take that moment to kind of sit out there and absorb that, right? You hear the birds first thing in the morning, and then those change, and those birds at night, you know, they come out, and there's different sounds, right? So I think today's message is, I'm really feeling like as we tap into that energy of that bird and just hearing them, is really reminding ourselves about how it's like, it's almost too simple, right? There's some simplicity to life, and just hearing that, right? And we're told too that, the other day I read that, bird singing actually helps calm the nervous system, because it reminds us that everything is safe, right? When we hear the birds singing outside around us, there's no predators around, so we can kind of let our guard down a little bit. If you're feeling a little uptight lately, you know, maybe this is the message from your higher self, is to really find that time to kind of sit out there and just tap into the, you know, earth song of the bluebird, or whatever little bird that you can hear out there. There's lots of great pink energy in this, which I really can't help but really feel like tapped into my heart chakra there. And it just feels of love, right? And gratitude. And in stepping into that energy, right? And you have to do so purposely, right? I feel as though your higher self wants you have to, like, you know, make that effort to kind of just sit out there. Great time to take off your shoes, put your feet on the ground, and just really listen to the bird song. See if you can interpret what they're saying, right? How they sing back and forth, and there's so many different kinds. I've just all a bit about the birds lately, so I just love that this is number 1. So as I go on, the number at the bottom is number 7. I love the number 7. It's very, it's got that like angelic feel to it. There is a unicorn down in the corner here, so it just feels as though like there's a little bit of magic, just stepping into the simple practice of observing and listening to the bird song. You just might be able to tap into some free-flowing happiness. Very cool. So there's that card. We will cut the cord there with number 1, and we will move on to card number 2. What is the message from your higher self? We get this card on here, and it's the Foggy Bog with Patience. The last time we got this card, I really had to tap into energetically the energy of a crane. I went back, you know, and looked up some of what I was feeling. And what was really neat is that the crane sees in different colors. So it sees different perspectives, right? And so I was able to kind of dig deeper into this card. So perhaps, which would be cool if you gotten this card in the past and we kind of gave the message that things are getting ready to clear, there's light behind, you know, stand firm. That's cool. You know, you're kind of in the thicket of things. What's neat too is this card gave me, when we got to do a little bit of research on it, kind of really gave me a more in-depth insight on it. When I was seeing that their vision is spectacular, they actually see in like 4 different colors, which is neat because it gives me the impression that perhaps your higher self is saying that there's more to be seen here before the fog can clear. Before, right, it almost feels as though like there's more to learn here, right? There's a different perspective, right? That there are many options in this, that it's not just one one perspective, right? There's many, like to rise above it and look at the whole situation. They are like, what I also look too is that they're like one of the most ancient birds we have, right? They've been here since the beginning of time. So they've really learned how to survive and be here on this planet, which is neat because they are in the thicket of things. So I believe your message was to look at different perspectives, but we do see the light here. And I do feel as though, you know, with the light here and as it rises, that the fog is going to lift. And then you're going to have that 360 view about whatever situation that you need. The number is 18. We can reduce that down to a 7 as well. Very cool. That is your message for number 2. We will cut the cord there, and we're going to move on to number 3. Number 3, what is your message? This is the message from your higher self and what you need to know right now. You got pine, spirit with purification. This is always a great card, just to remind you, we are in spring. Spring cleaning time is a good time. You think about it too, that, you know, we look at, you know, clutter, right? And when you go and you clean up a cluttered area, it's physical stuff, right? It's physical stuff in your way. You can see it, you can touch it, you can feel it. You really don't realize that it's kind of, you know, maybe clogging up your energy flow in your room until it's gone, or any other room, I should say, until it's gone. And then you can feel in the air, it almost feels good, feels lighter. So I believe that number 3, you're being called to, what can you spring clean around? What can you get rid of to kind of make lighter, right? This could be in your own personal life too, or this could be physical objects. But you're being called to kind of declutter, right? Make room. I think too, with her forward movement, and you can see her wings are kind of blurry, so I really feel as though she's moving forward, that this is preparing, number 3, this is preparing you. Your higher self is wanting you to know you need to clean this out because new stuff is coming in, right? We're moving forward. We have forward motion, and there's this freshness about this as well. And then I love the green pine that this fairy has in her hand too. And it just reminds me, because where everything else has snow on it, it just reminds me of, you know, like she's been to a place to collect that where there was no snow, right? So where everything's bright and green, and even that pine smell is very cleansing in itself, right? The number at the bottom of the card is 30, which would be reduced to a 3 if you were doing numerology, or maybe the number 30 has something to do with you. And she's very focused here too. I can see that she's focused on her hand. She's focused on the light in front of her. So, right, there's almost like a, to stay focused on the project, to get it done, to complete, right? To kind of clear that area. Very cool. We have pink color in there too as well, again, and that energy, right? That's a self-love kind of act, I feel. Kind of purging the stuff in your life that's, you know, whether it be, you know, actual objects or whatnot. That's a form of self-love, because you feel good after, right? You feel lighter. You're glad you did it. You've been wanting to do it for a while. And it's a great message from your higher self. Very cool. Look at the cord there. Number 4, here is your message from your higher self. We got eagle spirit with freedom, and you got this Pegasus, right? And how cool is this? The eagle, right? The eagle rises above and kind of looks, again, you know, sees a different perspective, sees different things, kind of sees the bigger picture, right? That's rising above. And in doing so, what I'm seeing here with this eagle, as this eagle is up here, right? And it's really connected to divine energy, God source energy, right? The eagle was used and stood at the side of gods, right? And it's very neat, because I love the way they're in their eyesight, right? You think about their eyesight and what they're able to see, you know, from high above, fish and other things that they hunt for. But anyway, it feels like this energy is showing me how to rise above a situation, to see it from a greater perspective. And when I say rise above, right, it just, I'm getting like, I think it's like, it's seeing it. You can't see it from the same place that you've always seen it, right? I think that is what I'm trying to get at, is that, you know, even asking to be shown the bigger picture, show it to me, you know, to kind of sit still in meditation and allow some of the stuff to kind of flow down for you, so that you can kind of look over it and see it. And I love the Pegasus with the wings too, because as you rise above it, I feel as though that you're going to attract certain things to you that are a higher energetic level, higher vibration, right? When you choose not to just be stuck in the same mundane stuff that kind of, you know, keeps you down here, and you decide to rise above it, you're actually going to attract higher vibrational things. The number is 13. 13, a lot of people look at as a lucky number, which is really cool. I see that there's the tree line and the clouds kind of meet together, and it's very cloudy. So that perhaps the view isn't exactly how you want it, but to see the larger picture, I feel as though that there's some healing in that for you. And so I believe your higher self is just asking you to do that. The colors in here too are very healing. I see lots of teal. It's a very healing color to me. Very cool. Very cool. And he's soaring, right? And there's this freedom in that. There's this freedom in seeing things from a different perspective, right? Things that kind of hold us down sometimes, that we get stuck in that energy, right? And we don't feel free, but to be able to rise above it and be like, oh, I understand now. It's almost like you're released from it. Really, really neat. Very cool. We will cut the cord there with number 4, and we're going to move on to number 5. Number 5, what is your message from your higher self? And that is mushroom, magic, connection, communication. Remember, you are connected to others. So number 5, being reminded to really kind of reach out to those if you're feeling like, you know, if you're feeling alone, to reach out. Also, maybe you know of people that are in your life right now that are on your mind, you know, maybe they keep coming up for you. This is your guidance. Your higher self is saying, yes, reach out. They could, you know, just hearing your voice could uplift them, could help, or could even you too. I love the magic connection too, right? So maybe that person's thinking about you too. I think it's really good too that we can talk to others and really kind of express how we're feeling, or listen to how they're feeling, and help one another in that way, just by being a sounding board sometimes. And it's neat, and I think that that's what you're being reminded to do. The number on the bottom of the card is 29, which can be reduced to 11, if that means anything to you. Very cool. We will cut the cord there with number 5. Number 6, which this is the card for the collective, so we'll go a little bit deeper into this one, and which is neat, because I think last week, maybe the week before, we got a tree as well for the collective, and today we got tree. We got growth, life, established, reach your full potential, and focus on obtaining wisdom. I love this, right? So this card and this tree and what this really is speaking to me, and it just happens to be a number 6 too, and it happens to be on number 6. So that's neat. This is neat. You know, if you've been kind of wishy-washy on where you're going in your life and stuff, and you know where you want to go, but you haven't fully made the commitment, right? I really feel as though this is really calling you to finally just take that stance and grow where you are, right? To really just invest in that, invest in what it is that you want to become, right? Reach for the stars while finding yourself rooted and grounded here on Mother Earth, right? And just really grow and blossom. There are birds like in the tree here. You have the moon and the sun present. And really giving yourself that time for growth too, right? We're all, we all started off as babies and we had to grow into adults. So we have things that are going on in our life too that sometimes are still in the infancy stage. And we just need to take time and we need to care for it, and right, proper nutrients, whether that be spiritual, mental, physical, everything is so required for nice, strong growth. And really find yourself in that, really embrace that, right? Embody it, right? And just let your roots out and your branches. Very cool. This card is really giving me like that spring summer vibe too. It's some cool energy to have. Let's see, is there anything else? Nothing that I'm pulling through here now, but we will move on. Okay, all right, so we'll close the cord there and we will cut the cord there, and we're going to open up number 7. This is your message from your higher self, and it is Lotus: purity, resilience, revival, overcome obstacles through resilience and faith. The message from your higher self is, this one is kind of beautiful, right? You think about the lotus flower, right? Very symbolic, and about how it goes down in night into the muck, right? And each day it comes up and it blossoms into the sunlight, right? And it's all fresh and it's new. And I think too, right? It's about what the lotus flower teaches us is sometimes that we have to go into that stuff, that there's purpose in it. And but that we will rise again, right? And knowing that. So if you're finding yourself in that position now where you're just kind of uncertain, things seem a little murky around you, stand firm in who you are, right? I see ripples here. In doing that, you're not only healing yourself, but you're healing those around you. And know that better days are to come. And when the sun is there, you're just going to come up and you're going to blossom and you're going to be beautiful. And what a great card. So oftentimes too, I'm being reminded right now to tell you, sometimes in our toughest times, we can be asked to, we can kind of crumble and succumb, right, and have to start over, or we can stand strong. And we get our greatest challenges right before our greatest breakthroughs. So if you're in that now, and you're, maybe your faith's being questioned, whether this is something that you want, you need to know that for yourself, and maybe ask that question: if this is really what I want, I'm going to stick it out. Because I know on the other side of this tough position that I'm in right now, that on the other side of this, something wonderful and new is awaiting. And it's going to ripple out, right? So very cool. The number at the number at the bottom of the card is 4. I really relate that to stability. Your higher self is just wanting to send that message that you will overcome these obstacles through resilience and faith. Very cool. We'll cut the cord there with number 7. We're going to move on to number 8. Number 8, what is your message for today? This is a beautiful card. This is seed, potential, hope, interconnection. Your potential is infinite. Have hope for the future. What a cool card for this time of season. You got the seed, right? And you got the person that's kind of underground in the darkness, right? They're in the seed. And what I love about this too, having just planted my garden, and doing some research on that, thinking of the seed and what it takes, and us as humans too, we all started as seeds, right? And even the process there. So you think about this, the potential, hope, and interconnection, your potential of infinite, have hope for the future. As the seed is planted in the soil, and water is applied, and sunlight, and even the flow of the air, and how the worms work underneath it, and everything, it starts this chemical reaction. And in this chemical reaction, in the dark, compressed, right, the sand and everything, or the dirt that's wrapped around the seed kind of compresses it. And just with the combination of everything, eventually that seed breaks open and it blossoms. And it reaches out, right? It grows straight up and it reaches out for the light, and the light hits it. And then with water and the nutrients from the soil and the sunlight, the plant grows, right? It's no longer a seed, but it takes great strength to break through that. Number 8, it really looks as though like you're in that process of getting ready to break through. So if you found yourself maybe kind of feeling like congested and tight and, you know, in an area, or maybe you've really kind of taken a step back to do some internal work, right? That it looks as though that things are you're about ready to blossom, right? That you're moving with the season. And it's really neat. Your higher self really wants you to know, to have hope for your future, right? All is going to be good. Again, there's vibration coming from this, right? It's almost as if you're leading the way in something, which is really neat. Take all the time that you need to do the internal work, that everything is going as it should. Very cool. The number at the bottom of the card is number 5. And we will cut the cord with that and move on to number 9, which starts a new deck. This is the Time Travels Oracle. Again, we ask the question, what is the message from your higher self? And this is for number 9, if you chose that. And the message is reflection. We have Mount Shasta's moon in California. I'm not surprised to see this one. I think that any communication with our higher selves, when we tap into that energy, is going to have you do this, the inward reflection, right? So number 9, if you're feeling this energies, right, you're being called to kind of do inward journey, perhaps. I think that's where we all have to start, is the inward journey. I'm getting the impression that ask yourself the different questions this time. And kind of go a little bit further. If you're always asking why did this happen, just change, and you're getting the same answer, and you just need to change your question. And I've found for me, I don't know if this will work for you, when I kept asking why, and I feel like I kept just getting more reasons why. When I really started, you know, where do I need to grow in this? Where do I need to change in this? Where do I need to, when I started doing it inwardly, and I gave that responsibility to me, I was shown different answers, and I was shown different things, and I was open to it and receptive, right? So I feel like number 9, this is an inward journey for you. It's time of reflection, right? A lot of us are feeling the shedding, or, and in doing so, sometimes things are awakened in us that we thought we moved away from, right? But it's just so that we can re-examine them, and we can just be like, yeah, you know what? I'm still good. I'm still good without it. I'm not that person anymore. I don't identify with that, and that's okay. I'm going to shed that. And I'm going to move forward. I'm going to step into the role that I am. So you're just really being asked, right? And again, we see the mountain. And so the mountain really does kind of say that perhaps that you've been on a journey, and it hasn't always been great, right? But really to step inside. I love the full moon energy. We're in it right now. We just had the full moon on Monday, which is in Scorpio, which is about rebirth and shedding. So it is a great time to reflect on that stuff. The number on the card is 35. We can reduce that to an 8 if you wanted to. Very cool. This is too, I want to mention with the moon, I'm really getting this impression too about tapping into that intuition, right? There's a lot of psychic energy here that I kind of feel like too, when you give yourself that time, that space, that quietness to kind of do that reflecting period, that it's going to be very healing, very, there's a lot of intuition here. You're going to just kind of be like, yeah, I got it. I kind of knew that. That feels right. You know, when you've been asking a certain question your whole life and you reword it a different way, and then you finally get the answer and you're like, yeah, that feels right. And there's healing in that. There's healing in that. You're able to kind of release that. All right, that's what that was. And let it go. Make room for the good stuff. Very cool. We'll close the car. We'll close that for number 9. We'll move on to number 10. Number 10. Oh, I love this card. 29. Peace, Saint Francis of Assisi, Italy. And in pranic healing, the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi is here. And I'm going to read it to you, which is neat. I pulled this card for myself earlier today. And I was like, oh, I wonder if this card will come up today. And I looked over and I had my prayer there. So I felt like if it did, this was part of it. So your message number 10 comes from the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi. And it is, Lord, make me an instrument of thy peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. When there is darkness, light. And when there is sadness, joy. O divine Master, grant me that I may not seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. So that is the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi, and that is your message. If you chose number 10, maybe there was something in there for you. Maybe there was something that you needed to hear. It's a beautiful, beautiful prayer. And I really do love the way this card feels, right? There's a little bluebird on him. And you have to think about the energy that you carry, right? For a little bluebird just to kind of land on your hand, which is neat because our number 1 card was Bluebird Spirit. So maybe you chose 1 and 10 and these are lining up for you. And it really does look like St. Francis of Assisi. He's looking off, you know, and he's got that glow that you see, the round circle behind him. There's the tree, you know, that's kind of shading him. And the skies are so beautifully blue. And it really, I feel very connected here. I feel as though, you know, that connection, right, to just life, to just, you know, feeling that, and to have that understanding. And what a beautiful prayer. We say it in pranic healing. It's part of our meditation. That prayer has meant something to me in so many different ways, and in meditation, and it speaks to me every single time. It's very cool. So I will post that prayer too in today's message so that you can have it as well. Very cool. We'll cut the cord there and we'll move on to number 11. Number 11, your higher self. There's the purification card again. So if you chose number 3 and 11, you're really being asked to kind of clean out some things in your life. So here we have, and this could be, you know, even a reminder from your higher self about purification of even yourself, right? What is it that you need to let go of? This could be lots of things too, right? Really tapping into, you know, some of us have some self-limiting beliefs that, you know, just, it's part of our program, you know, and it's just about really kind of asking to be awakened to those, you know, so that you can kind of rid those, you know. Also, again, you know, maybe you have some clutter, you know, physical items that it's time to get rid of. But I feel as though that you're really being asked to kind of make room here, you know, whether it be shadow work that you need to clear out, or whether it be a closet, and to give away, right, some of that stuff, or get rid of it, whatnot. There is this energy, this warmth about it too, that you're just being divinely kind of guided to do that. And just to tap into that energy, right? Tap into that energy and see where you're being guided to kind of start to release some of that stuff. The number here is 34. 34 can be reduced to a 7 as well. Very cool. And he kind of looks too, or this person kind of looks like they kind of have their hand on their heart. So really feeling guided where they're going with that, right? And water too. Water for me is very cleansing. Water can also signify emotion, right? And so this emotion is very soft. This is a soft, purification, right? It's a willingly letting things go, right? Very cool. All right, we'll cut the cord there with number 11. We'll move on to number 12. Woohoo, if you chose number 12, this is 44, and it is vitality. This is the message from your higher self, and there's lots of sun energy here. It does say the sun. I love the sun. It's so great. The sun is out, right? 12, let's see. How does this message pertain to 12 today, right? I can feel like get outside in the sun. I also feel too like there's lots of vibrance here, right? The word vitality is here, but vibrance, right? And it's almost what's the word I'm looking for? Prosperous, right? I feel like prosperity. I feel like an abundance, right? Life force energy. You have life force energy at your fingertips, right? Really tapping into that. What am I seeing? How can number 12 tap into life force energy? The sun, right? There's just light. I just see lots of light for you. I see, right? I'm almost being like, it's like, I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you the story that's kind of popping in because I'm kind of getting this impression of this too. I was talking to my daughter-in-law earlier about the dragonfly, and we've talked about this many a times. Because the dragonfly story is just really cool, and it kind of pops up a lot, especially spiritually for what it represents. But part of the reason, right, the dragonfly process from nymph to dragonfly is actually only hours. It's not days. It's not weeks. The nymph piece could be they could live as nymphs for years, but the process of them transforming into a dragonfly is hours. And they kind of put out there the question, well, what makes them decide? You know, when do they know that it's time to become a dragonfly? You know, what makes that change in them? And some suspect that it could be a light activation, that somehow the sun where they have lived most of their life, somehow that kind of pokes through and you know, they're like, I don't know, maybe they're swimming along and the sun rays are pounding down on the water that they're in, and they come across it, and you know, they look to the sun, and that activates something in them that they're like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna move up, and you know, they climb up onto a leaf or whatnot and sit there in the sun and wait, and that little bit of water that they have left in them, they push out and they have wings, right? So I'm kind of getting that impression that, you know, there's obviously we don't want too much of a good thing. You don't want to turn into a leather face or, you know, get heat stroke or anything, but there's something about the sun, and maybe there's something about you being activated, being in that light, and just feeling that and accepting it and receiving it. The sun's energy, you really think about it. I think that sometimes we take the sun for granted, right? We want those sunny days because it feels good and we can be outside, and you know, it gives us that upbeat, right? It really does change our personality. It provides us with like the vitamin D, and you know, when it's raining, we're gloomy. So maybe even just having that perspective that the sun energy is really powerful. It has a lot to do for us, and maybe you're being called, number 12, to just kind of get out and let the sun hit your face, and maybe sit in silence for a minute and just really kind of feel it, and absorb it in. That perhaps there's a message for you in there. And the number for the sun card is 44. So very cool. We're already at 40 minutes, but let's do the Zodiac pull, and if anything additional comes through, we will. we'll address that. And then as well as I'll share with you at the end here some of the stuff that I kind of channeled through. So number one, we are pulling for Zodiac, and we're going to see which one this is going with. This is for Pisces, number one. You're being asked to really kind of tap into that energy of that bluebird, right? To really hear the bluebird song of the birds around you and allow it to just kind of settle your nervous system, right? There may be some healing that you feel in that. You may feel a little differently, maybe refreshed, and you may even have an understanding of something. So that is your message for Pisces. All right, number two, here is, this is for Leo. I'm really given the impression for Leo that maybe you're being asked to, if things haven't moved along fast enough for you, or it's still a little foggy and you're still seeking clarity, that perhaps you're being asked to see it through different eyes, different perspectives. And that might clear things up for you. Very cool. All right, so for number three, we are pulling the Zodiac for Taurus. Taurus, you're being asked to really kind of, where do you need purification in your life? Where are you being called to do that? Are you being called to declutter a room? Or is there an actual cleansing that needs to take place? But Spirit wants to remind you of that. All right, number four, we are pulling for Virgo. That's just about rising above the tree line, rising above the noise, rising above everything, and just kind of looking around. I'm really getting that impression, like, don't get caught up in some of that stuff, that rise above that. As you do too, things are going to be attracted to you. Things are going to be pulled up to you. Very cool. All right. Number five, who is this for? This is for Aries. Aries, remember that you are connected to others and they are connected to you. If there's someone on your mind, reach out to them. It's quite possible that you're on their mind as well. All right, number six, who is this for? This is for Cancer. You are exactly where you need to be. It's time to plant yourself and grow. Nothing but growth and wisdom and just full potential, you know, just it's just getting ready. Very cool. All right, number seven, this is for Sagittarius. Sagittarius, right? I'm really seeing that there are parts in our life that feel mucky and cloudy, but that's just so that you can experience the beautiful opening of the blossom on the top, right? That it's almost like that duality, because the muckiness exists, so does that peace and serenity. It's there, right? It's all in timing. You are going to overcome your obstacles. Stay consistent and have faith. Very cool. All right, number eight, whose card is this? This is for Scorpio. This is really cool. You're in seed position, right? You're getting all the nutrients you need. It may feel a little uncomfortable. You're in your space, but everything is where it's supposed to be. And it does feel as though breakthrough is coming for you. And then you're going to be like, right, it's almost like this infancy stage again too, something very new. And have hope for the future, right? I feel like the more you empower some of those energies of, you know, everything always works out for you, the more you attract things that always work out for you, which is cool. All right, number nine. This is going to go to Aquarius. There's time for some deep reflection, right? The full moon really makes me feel about psychic energies. So you know this already. You know this. So in that reflection, right, I'm really feeling like this time that there is going to be this release that happens for you so that you can move forward. Very cool. All right, number 10, this goes to Gemini. Gemini, if you get a chance, go back. I'll post the prayer of Saint Francis of Assisi. Go read that. And I love that too, the twins, right? Because even in the prayer, you know, where there is injury, pardon, where there is doubt, faith, right? So it's almost like that balance too, to find that. That's a cool one for Gemini. Very neat. All right, number 11. Number 11 goes to Libra. You're really asked to purify some things in your life. What isn't serving you anymore, right? Your higher self is like, there, and it almost feels like this loving energy is coming over too. So it's like, this is really about self-care and self-love, and not overextending yourself, right? You're really being called to kind of, you know, there's so much more to life. I'm really getting that impression. There's so much more to life for you. Purify those areas in your life that are holding you down. Very cool. And number 12, this one's going to go to Capricorn. There's vitality. There's life. Potentially a DNA upgrade from sitting in the sun. Who knows, right? Really tapping into that energy, feeling that flow of energy through you. There's also prosperity on the horizon. I see this. There's lots of abundance here. You think about that life force energy that is behind you. Very cool. 44 feels very balanced to me. And 44 can also be transit to an 8, right? That's almost like close to wish fulfillment, right? Capricorn, very cool. If you're still here with me, congratulations. Some of the things that I channeled prior to kind of sitting here, and maybe next week I'll do things a little bit differently. I'll share those with you. I'm really feeling like the creative flow of things kind of coming in. Some of the stuff too was moments of pause. Really taking the time for self-healing, consistency, right? I'm also seeing consistency a lot, showing up every single day, doing those small acts every single day. You don't have to make, how's the saying go? You don't have to make drastic moves to make big impacts, right? Sometimes it's really just those small ones. You're being called to service others. I really feel in that pull through for some of you. If that resonates with you and this is something that you needed to hear, there's your sign, right? It almost feels like the signs are going to get signier. The release limiting beliefs. I knew that was going to come up today. That always comes up. We've been programmed in so many different ways. And we're just learning. We're learning stuff, right? I also got meditate, right? What is your earth song? That really reminded me of the bird, the bluebird spirit. And really kind of, you know, I was listening to someone play the flute intuitively, and I really thought, wow, that reminded me of the bird song where, you know, the bird kind of goes out there and that's their vibration, right? They're vocal about it. Everybody can hear. And the same thing goes for us when we play instruments, but I was really listening to someone play the flute intuitively, and I thought that's their bird song. That's what they're releasing. That's what they're feeling, the emotions and things in that. And it was really beautiful. Transparency. Transparency is going to keep coming up. Really about being transparent with yourself first, and just being transparent with the world. This is who I am, right? Take it or leave it. Who cares? But not, you know, hiding and deceit, you know, just really kind of being out there. All right, the root cause too, when we're doing our inner work, and you're looking for healing, right? And you feel like you can't move past something, really sitting in silence with yourself and digging into what is the root cause of this? Why do I feel this way? Why do I keep doing this? And go after the root, right? And I believe that is all that I have there that I shared with you. Very cool. All right. So with all of that said, we're 48 minutes in. I do hope that you all have an amazing rest of your week. I hope that you were able to find something that resonated for you and your growth in today's reading. I love to hear your feedback. If you want to schedule a reading with me, please do so. I would love to do that. Sit down with you, go through your cards. And with that said, I hope that everybody has a great rest of your day and week, and I'll see you here next week. Much peace, love, and light. Bye.